Hello everyone, so if you haven't heard, Beta 19 has been released for Squad. Now I haven't really been touching Squad for a long time because they hadn't been updating too much content, and they finally dropped a new beta version. And usually these beta versions come out with a whole bunch of new maps or new systems, and it's a pretty big change of the game. But Beta 19 actually looks a little underwhelming. So this kind of plays into why I haven't really been playing Squad. It's been so long playing the same game, even with mods, spicing up every now and then. The most fun I ever really have in Squad these days is either with the Star Wars mod or with Squad Ops One Life events, because that's always, fresh content or new content, and the game is usually played pretty differently in those events than standard vanilla gameplay. And I've just been doing it for way too long, where I've done almost every different strategy and every different map layer on the public servers. But we're gonna get into Beta 19, and you'll kind of see what I mean by the lack of content and how I'm kind of getting burned out of Squad. So first off, in this Beta 19, they've released a couple of new systems, which is nice. First off, they've upgraded Squad to Unreal Engine 4.23, which is great because that usually comes with a whole bunch of new tools for developers as well as for modders, and it also comes with a lot of performance improvements as well as bug fixes. So this is good just on a grand scale of things, being able to fix a lot of things or get more tools being upgraded on the Unreal Engine. So that's kind of cool for the game as a whole, but it doesn't really mean much to us on the end side as players. They finally have added the ability to drag incapacitated players, which is something that everyone has been asking for since the beginning of the Kickstarter. Everyone always asks, when is Dragon coming? When is Dragon coming? And it's finally here. I have not yet played with this, so I'll have to see how this is implemented in the game and if it's, janky or if it's, pretty smooth and seamless. But, this is pretty cool because people have been waiting for this. The only thing about this, though, is that this doesn't really affect gameplay on the grand scale of things. It's cool because it's a feature that everyone wants, but it's not going to really change how the game is played. It doesn't add anything crazy to the game. It's just a cool mechanic that I think is realistic and, medics will really appreciate, and you'll get to use a couple of times as you're out there on the ground fighting. But when it comes down to the actual gameplay, I don't think this is going to affect things too much. I think it's going to be some nice eye candy, and it'll be fun for a couple immersive highlights and moments. But game to game, day to day, I don't think this is really going to be something that keeps the player base around if this is all that they plan on adding in the next coming weeks and even month, because these updates have just been getting longer and longer again. They did really well updating Squad pretty consistently, back in I think it was beta 16 to 17, 16 to 18 maybe, but since then it's really slowed down and it's showing. I've just gotten way too tired of playing the same maps. That Postscriptum even has been pushing out huge, massive game-changing chapters. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3, all massively different. Even this Chapter 3 for Postscriptum has been such a huge leap for the studio. Periscope has just been doing so well with their map design. They've got really immersive new kind of ideas and spins on every chapter. For example, this last one with the jump in onto St. Mary Glee. It's just crazy how immersive they're adding all the AA guns, the D-Day beaches. They're adding in some scripts for the explosions on the beaches, and the map designs are just really cool. Different theaters, different models, and it's coming out at a, pretty consistent pace. So I'm pretty happy with how Postscriptum is doing right now. I haven't checked on Hell Let Loose. I know they're chugging along as well. There's just so much content right now in the tactical shooter genre that I'm not sure that small updates like this is going to be enough. But aside from that ramble, let's see, we've also got the ability to destroy tail rotors on helicopters, which is once again a really nice small mechanic change, and I think is really going to be cool and immersive for, a couple highlights or a couple moments game to game. But on the grand scale of things for Squad, I don't think this spices up gameplay at all. It's a cool new feature, but Squad needs to release something that's going to freshen things up, going to bring a lot more players back into the game, because all the veterans who've been playing this for years and years, we're just getting burnt out. And I think it's really important that Squad does something, I don't know, maybe even something like Postscriptum, where every chapter to chapter or every update to update, you have some pretty cool stuff coming in. So just something for the Squad devs to think about. That's my take on it right now, and that's really why you haven't been seeing too much Squad on the channel recently, is just because there hasn't been any real game-changing additions or changes or balances. That being said, they're adding in a couple of new quality of life features, new NVIDIA highlight system, which is great because, if you want to record those highlights, you have another way to do it. But But yeah, these are really small changes that on the grand scheme of things don't really want to make me play squad again. I mean, the biggest thing with releasing beta 19 is they broke all the mods, all the custom content that communities have been working on. They can't fix that stuff right now. It's going to take time for all these custom mods to come back because beta 19 on the new Unreal Engine broke all of the mods, and that is almost a hit, I think, for squad right now. And it's really sad when you think about it, because there's such a wealth of this, you know, new exciting content that's out there and is being created, but very few people can play it because the mod integration in squad is just so poor. I'd love to see them do something where they can make mods, you know, a little bit more available and a little bit more accessible, because that, I think, is where a lot of this content that I'm looking for is going to come from, the community. The community is going to be a great powerhouse. I see this time and time again. The community is this huge wealth of content that you just need to enable and you need to encourage. But it's just always with the patches. Every single patch that comes out just breaks modding, and it sets the developers for these mods back even further. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they get this up to date, they get the SDK up to date, and these mod devs can go back and crank out new content. Squad mod can continue adding new stuff. The Star Wars mod can continue adding more stuff. There's a whole bunch of other awesome content on that workshop for squad, but we just can't play it. No one plays it because it's so hard to get a full server with it. Optimization, once again, really cool, because a lot of you guys have issues running squad. Now, hopefully this helps. So this is something that's really welcome. It looks like B19 was just a small, you know, systems overhaul slash optimization patch, which is good for the community and good for the game. But just for the veterans that have been here since like day one, a lot of us can't stand to play the same thing over and over and over again. People get sick of it. People get tired of it, and people move on. And maybe that's normal and that's natural in the cycle of the game. But I really do love squad. I do love squad, despite me, you know, really leaning into it on this patch notes. I just really think that squad needs to freshen things up and bring in a really nice content patch, because it's been a while. It's been a while, and I really want to see this game survive. Game modes, they're doing a lot of other gameplay balance changes in this patch. One thing that I really like right here is the fact that they are changing it so that only infantry can capture points. I like this change because in my mind, squad is primarily an infantry focused game. Now, I could be entirely wrong about this, and you know, OWI could totally want to go a different way, but I mean, the game is called Squad. It started off with infantry content, and I really think that infantry gameplay is the way to go as far as these kind of games. I really hate the amount of vehicle bloat that's been around in the recent maps. I really hate it, because you'll see like 20 infantrymen on the ground, and then the rest of the entire team is in vehicles driving around. Like, I'm okay with this game being a combined arms game and having helicopters and tanks and APCs and IFVs. I love that. But I really do not like it when the entire team, when like half the team is stuck in vehicles and you're walking around and it just feels so empty. It feels so empty on the ground, and it's just, I don't know. I think it's bad for gameplay in my opinion. You might have a different opinion, and it's totally valid, but that's also one of the reasons why I haven't been playing squad. Is I think the vehicle bloat is getting a little bit out of hand, especially adding in helicopters and stuff. Like, I think it's just way too much. I love having helicopters in, but you know, maybe one helicopter per map, one tank per map, couple IFVs, couple APCs, and that's it. But I don't like seeing like 2 tanks, freaking 4 strikers, and you know, 4 MRAPs, and then 2 helis, and now half the platoon is in vehicles, and you got 1 squad from each team fighting it out on the caps. It just feels so empty. And it's something that Postscriptum does really well. It's like when you see a tank in Postscriptum, you're like, oh shit, the Tiger is here. It's not like, oh yeah, there's a Tiger and an APC over there, and there's a scout car over there. It's like the asset balance in Postscriptum is done so well to where every vehicle has its own unique niche and its own unique use, and every time you run into something, it's like, how do we deal with this problem, and what is this going to do to the team? Instead of at squad, where it kind of feels like you just get thrown armored vehicle after armored vehicle right in your face sometimes, and it's just too much. It's just too much for me. They've updated the insurgency caches to have a 3-meter no deploy zone. This is good because a lot of times in insurgency, what you'll end up seeing is like the Red 4 team or the Op 4 team will end up just putting sandbags and all this stuff, barrels and everything on top of the cache and just entombing it, as they say right here, with a whole bunch of deployables, and it's impossible to get to and easily drop a charge. You have to literally be there digging for like such a long time. So it's nice that they're finally getting around to updating Insurgency. I think Insurgency needed a lot of love in the past, and it's finally getting it. I think more game modes are also a way that you can spice up the game, but we don't even see a new game mode in this patch. So hopefully they got a nice trick up their sleeves for the next content release, as that will really draw me back in. Other things that they've changed here, this is the one other notable thing I want to mention in the infantry gameplay. Updated non-medic revive times to 17 seconds, previously 14 seconds. I'm not sure if this means that they're adding 3 seconds to respawn time, or if or what they mean here. This is I'm a little confused by this, but one thing I really dislike about Squad, and I feel this after playing Postscriptum, is I feel like the respawn times are a little too long. I think a minute per death is just a little whack. So much of this game is already spent walking around and in the death screen and then waiting for a medic. And then if you give up without getting medic, if they're adding 3 more seconds, I don't know. I don't know if my perspective has changed over the years or if I've become more casual. I don't freaking know. But I think that after playing Postscriptum, after playing Hell Let Loose, and you know, maybe it's because those are different theaters and they're allowed to get away with it, I think that there's a little bit too much death screen time in Squad. You want people playing the game, even if it means that, you know, respawning at main and then driving back in, even if that's what it is. I think that the ability for players to have some sort of control over what they're doing when they're dead or when they're getting back into the fight, rather than having them on a hard timer, goes a long way. So I'm not sure. I know Postscriptum, so a great example of what I'm talking about is in Postscriptum, the tank respawn times used to be very long. And the bad thing about that is if you were a tank crew and you got blown up, you'd have to not only wait for the tank to respawn, but then you'd also have to wait for the tank to drive all the way back to the front lines, which is an additional like 15 minutes. But that 15 minutes almost serves as a respawn time. That drive-in time, that transit to the fight, is already more or less a respawn timer, because once you die, it's still going to take you 10-ish minutes to get back into the fight. Now, that's something that maybe only Postscriptum can get away with because of the scale of it and the feel of it and the theater. It's supposed to be, you know, a grand war where things are happening a lot more consistently. They're supposed to have a greater feel of more bodies on the field, and maybe Squad isn't really meant for that, but I think it's bad for gameplay when you have players just sitting in the screen. I think maybe if, you know, even if these players have to respawn and then walk back in, I think that's much better and more engaging than just watching or waiting for a medic and then getting punished even more. But I could be totally reading this wrong. Updated non-medic revive times to 17 seconds instead of 14. It sounds like if you don't get medicked and you get revived, it's 17 seconds. I could be totally dumb and reading this wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. A whole bunch of other changes. I'm not going to go through all of them. Once again, if you want to see all the patch notes, I'll leave a link down below so you can check it out. But we're just going to scroll through and see, you know, the most important things here. The next thing I want to touch on is the helicopters updated for unloading and loading ammo. Previously, so long as they were inside the radius of a fob, they'd be able to resupply or, you know, move materials and ammo. Now you have to be at 30 meters or lower. I think this is good. Adds the realism. And, you know, maybe you'll get some Black Hawk Down moments because Rotors can now be shot at, and these helicopters have to hit 30 meters or lower to drop their supplies. So, I don't know. Maybe some fun moments here to be had, but that's such a specific scenario, right? Okay, a whole bunch of changes. So it looks like this was really just an optimization slash fix slash engine upgrade patch. The only thing that really turns me off about this is that it's been so long since our last, you know, major content patch, and that it's just I don't know, it just doesn't really make me want to get back in the game. Like, I already have decent frames, and, you know, this is my personal experience, so maybe you guys who don't have good frames are like, hey, now I can play Squad now, I'm going to launch it. But this doesn't make me want to really play Squad anymore. Just because it's no new content. It's going to be roughly the same thing as how it was before, just better frames and a couple of changes. As far as Commander, they upgraded the CO artillery, 75-meter radius. One impact is lethal to anything under 20 meters for infantry. So I'm not sure what it was before. I would have liked to see, you know, the before and after of the impact radius damage, just so I know what it was changing to. But good to see that they're paying attention to Commander things. I don't see if there's anything in here that is important. No, just a whole bunch of fixes. Not really that important. Deployables, updated razor wire to be more resistant to fragmentation. I remember you could throw one frag and all the barbed wire on the fob would go flying. It looks like that's going to be a little bit harder to do. A couple of other fixes, more fixes, UI fixes, environment fixes, updates, maps. They added a Calf Albazra invasion layer. I love the Calf faction. I love Albazra and I love invasion, so that's good to see. Anything else on Albazra? Just fixes. I don't even think they added anything to the map. Yeah, no. Belaya, more optimization, more performance. Any additions? No additions. Korra, any additions? No additions. We have, nope, no additions. Fool's Road, updates, fixes, no additions. Gordok, updates, fixes, no additions. Jensen's Range, don't really care about that. Kamdesh, updated all gameplay layers, updates, fixes, nothing new. Kokin, okay. Kokin has had a full performance and optimization patch. Added a new irrigation ditch for better infantry gameplay in the open. I like this. This is good. I like to see this. Why can't we get this in all the maps? Let's do this on all the maps, guys. I love microterrain. You guys hear about this all the time. I have always been behind adding more things for infantry to get behind for cover. I think it's incredibly important that when you're fighting as infantry, you feel like you have options at all times. They might not be the best options, and you might have a very bad situation, but I think the ability to do something, even if it's to not die, lets players get in the fight more and feel like they're playing the game. Because the last thing you want to do is wait a 1 minute respawn timer, walk all the way in, get into a spot, and there's no cover at all. I think it's not good for gameplay. I think you can shout realism all you want, like, hey, you know, there's nothing in the desert, but I don't care. Add wrecks, add ditches, add rocks, add crashes, add something that players feel like they can do something in almost any situation. It might not be, you know, hey, I can kill this guy from the spot, but so long as it's something that's like, I can at least not die a stupid way after waiting all this time. I think that's good for gameplay. And that is definitely something that they're doing here. Postscriptum, once again, is my poster child. All these new maps that they're adding have some form of microterrain around the map to where you always have an option. You start taking fire, guess what? There's a tractor in the middle of the open that you can get behind. You can work with that, right? But all these open fields, all the open terrain of the old maps, even Postscriptum has old maps that are terrible. Squad has old maps that are terrible. What these large open areas, I think, are just not good for gameplay. They don't get played, and at that point, why even have them in the game? Let's see what else. Kohat, a couple fixes. Kohat invasion fix. Logar fixes, remove some armored vehicles. Good. Once again, put that on all the layers. Put these two changes on all the layers, and I'll be a happy boy. Mestia, full optimization and performance pass, so really nice. I know they updated, yeah, here we go. They updated all 3 Crucible points with a new tower thing, so we have to play on Mestia and check out what's going on there. But even then, not too much changed there. Manic, I haven't played this map in forever. I really do like Manic. A lot of people hate Manic, but I think it's a cool map. It's just hell to drive on with vehicles, but if they fix the engine speeds on that, I think Manic could be a pretty fun map. Mutaha, couple changes and updates to Mutaha, nothing crazy there. They added a Calf Mutaha layer, good, love Calf. Get them more in the game, definitely, that's good content. Good to add new content in the game, new layers with new factions, totally down for that. Nanny added a invasion layer, they added 1 helicopter per team for the invasion layer, cool. Would be cool to see how Nanny plays with helicopters. Narva updates, fixes, nothing new there. Talil fixes, yeah, nothing there. Infantry tutorial, don't care about that. Scorpo, updated, fixes, nope. Sumari, updated, fixes, Yeho, fixes, modding, I don't know how, I talked to the mod devs for the Star Wars mod, and they're so depressed because they can't make any work on their project now after their project had such a good push as far as like media wise over the last week because everyone was playing it. The servers were full. They had like 2 full Star Wars servers, and now no one can play the Star Wars mod because it's broken because of the update. Uh, which is just unfortunate timing. It's not even really on OWI's, like, that's not OWI's responsibility. It's to time things with the mod devs, but it's just unfortunate. It's just really unfortunate. Miscellaneous, they added a couple things, a couple fixes, cool stuff, known issues. Yeah, but yeah, as like, there's nothing about this patch that excites me. Like, I'll hop on maybe to see how the dragging looks and how the new map updates look, but even then, the map updates are so minimal. The dragging is going to be the most obvious thing with this patch, and even the tail rotor, I don't think that's going to happen too often. Maybe it will. I could be completely wrong, and we'll play a whole bunch of games and we'll get our tail rotor shot out every single game. But I don't think these are really major changes. These are nothing really, it's nothing really game changing for me. This might be game changing for people who have, you know, bad computers, so that might be the biggest push from this patch. But I just think it's been so much time in between the last content update. I'm really hoping that they have something up their sleeve for beta 20, you know, like right around the corner, that they can release maybe a new map, new content, new faction, something. Give us something. Because Postscriptum is really showing us, you know, what kind of changes can be done patch to patch or chapter to chapter. You know, the different kinds of new ideas that are brought into Postscriptum are really crazy. And they're a lot of fun. So hopefully we see something cool out of Squad. But like I said, none of this really excites me or wants me to get back into playing Squad too much. So we'll see what happens. I'll be playing it. I'll be throwing up a couple videos, and I'll give you my in-game impressions. But this is my patch notes breakdown. Let me know what you think. I'm always open to other opinions. Let's talk about it in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.